Okay, let's talk about some head elements. I have accidentally exposed a few of them by using my editor VS Code, and I think this is actually a good segue into looking into some more head elements. Now, there are a few of them that we have touched on very lightly. There are a few more in there. There's actually quite a few, and I think maybe we'll go and take a quick little dive into a website and see what kind of head elements we can find. So I'm just going to open up my editor and we're going to create a regular, just a regular standard HTML structured template. And we're going to walk through those head elements and then we're going to learn about a couple more. So let's go ahead and do that now. So I've got VS Code here and I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to save this file as headelements.html. I'm going to type HTML:5, HTML5. And we see that right off the bat, it gives us HTML, head element, a body element, and a doc type. It also gives us a character set, UTF-8. So this is actually one that you're going to want to use on pretty much every single website forever. Moving forward, this is how you display special characters, Chinese characters, Japanese characters, Korean characters, even special characters in languages like Spanish, like this. Or not that one, this one, that's more Spanish. But this serves as a good example as well. Or something like this, where we have any of these characters show up. Anytime you have something like that, you're going to want UTF-8 encoding. And that basically says, hey, browser, we are going to have all sorts of stuff on here. So make sure you can accept every single language. Now this is a meta element. A meta element basically just means this is an extra detail about the page. So the browser is going to look at this and say, oh, okay, the meta tag that has a char set or a character set is set to UTF-8. So I'm not going to use the standard sort of text encoding that I regularly use. I'm going to use UTF-8, the globally accepted formatting. Next, we have another meta tag. This one has a name of a viewport, and the content is going to be width is equal to device width and initial scale is equal to 0. That is, honestly, that one is making our site responsive. So we're going to dive into this one a little bit more down the road when we start talking about responsive websites, but that is basically how we make a site responsive. And now we're just saying HTTP equivalent, basically make sure your content is available on Edge, so consider Edge. That one actually we are going to get rid of because that one is going to be a little too complicated for the time being. And then we also looked at title already, so that's a good one. We looked at style. We know about that one already. We have now dealt with a couple meta elements in there. We have actually already learned about link, so how we can link to another resource such as a CSS file, style.css. And if we wanted to put any JavaScript in here, we could simply put script and script. There we go. And in here, we could do something like alert test. So let's go ahead and open this file in Firefox. Let's close that. And you don't have to use Firefox. I just like it because it's pretty speedy, but you can use anything. Okay, so this gave me a nice little alert. This said test. That was JavaScript. You could also do something like console.log. Hello world. We're actually diving into some JavaScript at this point. So let's refresh the page. Hit our console and we can see hello world. And we can see exactly where this was written from. It came in from headelements.html and is on line 11. Now, as you progress through your web development journey, your inspect tool is going to be the best thing ever. It's going to help you with so many problems. It'll help you see exactly what your browser is looking at, what your console can see. It can help you debug, so exactly where a problem or something might be happening is coming from. You've got a style editor, you've got all sorts of stuff in here. We're not going to go through all of this because as time goes on, as you become a more talented web developer in several different languages, and you start using different libraries, and you start learning like React and Vue and Angular and things like that, these other tabs become a lot more important. But for now, we really just need inspector and console. But that's neither here nor there. We are talking about head elements. And so we really have script, link, meta, style, and title. These are the top 5, really, that you're going to see all over the place. Now let's go and explore the internet. Let's see what else we can find. Let's go to imdb.com and see what we have in here for head elements. Inspect element. Let's open up our head. And so we've got a script, we've got another script, we've got another script. Meta, charset, UTF-8, like what we saw. Compatible, IE Edge, like what we originally saw. We've got, this is a pretty cool one. We've got a meta element in here, basically saying that the Apple iTunes app icon, this is a cool one. We have a meta tag in here with the name of Apple iTunes app, and its content is app ID. So basically, when this is loaded up on a mobile device, they can reference the app ID. Likewise, the iTunes App Store, or the Apple iTunes Store, rather, will be able to know that IMDb has a particular app ID of 342792525. We have a lot more scripts in here, so a bunch of JavaScript. We've got a link, we've got a title, and there's the link. We've got a property, OG URL, Open Graph URL. So this URL, whenever you copy and paste a link into Facebook, for example, Facebook wants to scrape that page and say, what is that URL supposed to be? What are we supposed to show it as? And we say, oh, it's supposed to be imdb.com or http://www.imdb.com/. We have a link, and that one is much more advanced. We're not going to touch on that one. We have another link in here. This one links to an SVG, so that's pretty cool. We've got a, so that's an icon. That's this guy up here, the favicon. We haven't touched on favicons yet. We're going to pretty soon though. A lot more links, meta, all sorts of meta, more links, more scripts. So you can see that in the wild, really, we are only using one of 5 tags. We have a title, we have a style, we have a meta element, and we have a link element, and lastly, we have a script element. Now, when we're talking about the document object model, it doesn't really go very deep. So when we look at a script in here, yeah, okay, we're looking at a little bit of JavaScript. Let's look at this style. We're looking at some CSS. That's all it is. Meta tags don't have child elements. Scripts, I don't think any of these actually have child elements at all. Yeah, no, actually they don't. And that just occurred to me for the first time ever. But they don't have child elements at all. So when we start talking about our document object model, we know that the body can go really, really deep. You can have children, and those children can have children, and those children can have children, but the head does not go very deep. It is very shallow. It really only consists of title, style, meta, link, and script. So your task for this particular video is going to be, I want you to find a website, any website. It could be Facebook, it could be Google, it could be your own personal website. It doesn't really matter. Just open up a website, right click on it, go to Inspect Element, and open up the head tag. So this head tag here in your inspector, just open that up and take a look around, see what people are adding in there. We're not going to learn about every single variation because there are tons of them, but you should by now be able to understand sort of what's going on here. So take 5 minutes out of your day, go explore imdb.com, Facebook, Google, it doesn't really matter. Go explore a website, go explore the head section of another website and just see what they're adding in there. And once you are done with that, let's head on over to that next lesson where we actually talk more specifically about meta tags.